To use some of our features, Danielle Bosco, our lead backend programmer analyst, is here to help. She's helped grow the platform and will guide you on a journey into how you can use existing features to make your life easier and your website even better. So you've sat through strategy, you've gotten great tips on how to write better for the web. You are ready to dive into the meat and potatoes, Omni-centered, how do you do this? So take it away, Danielle.
Thanks. All right, wake up, everyone. Last session of the day. We're all suffering from the post-Costa Vida lunch coma. Yes? Okay, if you've gotten your caffeine from the soda in the break room, good for you. We've got some things to go over today, and thank you for that fantastic lunch. All right, make sure you stay all the way through the end of mine if you want the grand prizes. By the way, there's like bigger, better things than selfie lights we're giving out, so stick around for those. My presentation today is on Omni CMS's features, tips, and tricks. If you were here last year, I had a presentation with exactly the same name, but it's not the same presentation. So make sure you pay attention, and we'll get started. All right, first thing on my agenda today is the best practices and helpful things. I always have one of these just to remind you of what we should be doing. And we won't go over them too slowly, but they're just like a reminder for you. We'll move on then to what is new in the platform since last conference, and we'll demo some of those things. And then we will go over the Omni CMS tips and tricks with a live demo of things that may be new to you, even you power users out there, and some things that you can implement hopefully in your own use of Omni. So we will also conclude with what's upcoming on my team for the upcoming year and how it's going to impact you guys. All right, so our first thing that we're going to go over is our best practices and helpful things. The first two you should already know, right? Hopefully, yes? If not, please see someone with this lovely badge that looks like this. We're all around, you've already seen us, and we can help you out. The first two here are show blocks and shift enter. And if you don't know what these are, they are inside of your edit tab on Omni, and they help you know where the heck you're putting stuff when you put stuff on the website. So not gonna go over those any more than that. Then we've got our file navigation, and it is this lovely file folder here on the left. It is on the left side of your Omni implementation. You can actually open that by clicking on it and then scroll through all of your files here instead of going all the way to the top to content pages. Sometimes it is more convenient, sometimes it's not. So if you like using it, great. If you don't like using it, also great. You also have an assets section here as well. So if you have some assets that you don't want to like go to content assets to see, you can actually click them from here as well. So quick reminder on that one. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is file naming conventions. Ooh, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, guys. Last year, I was like giving you all sorts of like fun things to do. We're going to go back to basics really fast. This is not pointing fingers, by the way, at anybody. Actually, my test site's probably the worst one on all of these things we're about to talk about. But they are just quick reminders of best practices. So on the file naming conventions, let me hit enter here. We have some things we need to talk about. The first one up here, how underscore to underscore graduate underscore early. This is, I put a dead upside down fish next to this. Don't do this. Like, okay, so what we're talking about is the underscores here. All right? Underscores are not a good thing on your file names inside of Omni. Why? Because on this blue example, top blue example, how underscore to underscore graduate early looks from the back row like how space to space graduate space early, which if you type that in the browser, it's not going to return a page because it doesn't exist. So the problem is that when you have a link and you've typed out that link, you can't really see if there's spaces. Well, you can, but you have to look real close, right? So no underscores in your file names, please. If you have them, you can just go ahead and change them, and I won't know. So there's that. So the good example, what you want to do instead, is our green dogs. Because it's green, that means go. It's good. Everybody likes dogs, right? So how dash to dash graduate early. Fantastic file name. Okay, so our example here is pretty short. How to graduate early. I love that. Okay, I also don't want to see these last ones, right? A whole sentence. as a file name. Our file name here is how _to _graduate _early _if use _r _a _transfer _student _at _USU. Right? It's exhausting to even like say it. Don't type it in there, right? So we don't want like news articles is probably the biggest offense of this, where you take like the whole long research title and just like throw it in the PCF name. So we want to shorten them. How can we shorten this one, right? Well, obviously we know we're at USU because it's over here, usu.edu in the link, right? So let's just like delete that part. We know we're at USU, you know. There's a couple different ways you can do it. That would be one of them. And then there's no harm actually in just chopping it off at how to graduate early, right? There actually is a file name limit inside Omni. It will stop you and not publish if your file names are too long. Levi knows this. He's shaking his head at me. Yes. So yeah, there is a limit. You just want them short and you want them easy to read, right? The point is to have your pages something memorable, especially if they're at the root of your site or closer to the top of your navigation on your site. You want people to be able to remember them quickly, like, oh, it's it.ucu.edu/web to get to the web section. But what if I wanted to see, like, you know, I'll talk about this in a second, so we'll come back to this. We have that changelog that Jordan had in his presentation. If we want to go there, it's just called changelog. It's not called what's dash new dash at dash da 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 da, right? So it's easy to remember and you can type them in, okay? So that's the other thing that I didn't talk about yet, the other thing we don't want to do besides the underscores is to squish everything into one word. So how to graduate early with no anything to punctuate it is how to graduate early. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, nobody knows what that means, right? So you want to like just put the dashes in there to make them readable to the user as well, because they do see them in the URLs. All right, on the next one is the folder best practices. Our first example here is a news folder. So my demo site today is usu.edu/oudev/demo. That's the site name for me, so ignore that part because that's our site, right? After that, we've got news/2023-news/news. Little redundant. So like, we don't want that either. Again, the user needs to know where they are. So obviously they know they're in a news folder of some kind because we've said it 3 times now. So how can we make this better, right? So this is actually, remember that this is your folder structure too inside of Omni, right? So the first folder is news. Inside of that we have 2023-news, and then we have a news page, right? So how can we make it better? We can strip out the news on the second one. So now we're inside of the news folder, which contains only things from 2023, because we don't need to say news because it's already there in front of it. And then we're on the main page inside that folder. Okay, and then we get the thing like, I don't like the index page, right? The index page is good because it is the premier landing page for the folder, but you don't actually have to give it out to people, right? If you have an index page, you can actually, and this is already a thing, but on your marketing materials, you can actually hand out just news/2023 with nothing after it, and it will still go to the index page, okay? So awesome. We like this one. Notice I put them in order from like largest to smallest, because we like the small ones, the bottom, right? So cool. Those are it on our best practices and helpful things. If you have any questions about any of this, always let us know. Okay. What is new since last time we've been here? All right, this QR code, we have lots of QR codes today. This one here is for the changelog page. This is the new thing that we mentioned. This has been going on for me since November. So every significant change that we've made that pertains to any of you at all whatsoever is actually listed here since November of last year. So you can scan this QR code, or you can go to it.usu.edu/web/changelog. And this guy, it contains all of our features that we've updated or new things we've implemented, and it's really just a fancy tech term for what's new, right? Okay, and there's also, it's super helpful, I think, because there's also instructions on there on how to implement some of the features. So it not only has like what the feature is, but like how to get it, right? Some of the things you'll have to contact us for, and some of the things it just says, oh, click here and you're good, right? So always something to know. Very helpful. Okay, this next one's like so exciting, guys. Font Awesome 6, woo! Yeah! I see some smiles out there. Okay, those of you who've been around a while on our platform know that we've had like Font Awesome 4, free only. Can I use Font Awesome 5? Oh, sometimes maybe, but really Font Awesome 4. Where's the documentation for that? It's not on the homepage. Now I have to Google it. Now I have to go to an old version. Like, it's been really complicated, right? All that's gone away. It's already gone. Okay, Font Awesome 6, Pro version. What? Okay, Utah State has purchased the Pro version, so it doesn't matter what icon it is or what style it is, you can have it. Yay! So this is super exciting. You will no longer have to find which version, okay? You're just gonna go to the normal fontawesome.com website and just, that's it, and click on icons at the very top, and then you can have whatever. So along with this, we had some component changes. Most of them were for Font Awesome 6. We had some other ones for accessibility and UX UI as well. But the component changes I'll talk about here are actually mostly related to the Font Awesome 6. Previously, there were, how many do we have? 3 or 4? I think we had 4. There are 4 components inside of our system with Font Awesome icon capabilities, I should say. And 2 of them were designed by one person, and 2 of them were designed by another person. So we had some discrepancies on like what kind of things you would put in them related to Font Awesome. They're all the same now. Yay. So your old ones will still work, right? But if you go to preview it and it's no longer working, you'll just have to update it again. And that's just really easy. Just click edit and it will tell you what to do, okay? But yeah, they're all the same. And all you're gonna do is copy the code directly from the Font Awesome icon code and paste it in there and you're done. So I'll demo that just in case anyone needs that in a second, but they're all the same. Okay, another thing that's new, we have CAPTCHA for our Omni forms now. So this is that cute little checkbox that you all know and love that says, I am not a robot, yay. Okay, this is to prevent the spam submissions on forms. So this is optional, you have to opt into it. And you know what, if your form is like not getting spam, maybe don't worry about it, like that's totally fine. It's like not necessary if you don't need it. But if you do need it, we are available to turn that on for your site. Most of you will already have the capability to add it, but if you don't and your site is that's a top level domain site, you'll have to reach out to us first to enable those. Some of you already have. So, okay. Hiding images on CP News and generic feeds. This is available on index pages and in the component itself. The component, I do not need to do anything for you. It's up there, you just go edit that thing and say, I don't want images, no, go away. And they disappear. So the index pages though, if you have like evergreen content, like if you are, I don't have a good example, let's make one up. Yes, first semester guides, great. If I have a bunch of first semester guides on my site, they don't really need images because they're just literally like walls of text. So, and some of them might have images, some of them might not have images because it may not be relevant. You can go to the index page on those. There's a code snippet that I will have to send you, so just contact us. And we'll drop that in, and then you can click the checkbox like, I would not like images on my index feed, okay? So that is a thing that's available now. Okay. Last on my list today, directory.ucu.edu looks exactly the same, which is good because it's a great design. Thanks, Ben, if he's still here. But it has launched inside of Omni now. It is no longer a stick-built site. What this has done for us and why this is significant is because it has laid the foundation for us to move forward with the Omni CP directory rewrite. So we're rewriting all of your directory profiles. No panicking, please. I will talk about it in a second. You won't have to do anything, and we're going to make your life easier. It'll be fine. Okay. I'm going to run through these real fast, and then we'll start the fun part where it's like live demo, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. So we've got a couple of things that we're going to tell you this year that I did not tell you last year. We have a bookmarks gadget. I think it's really useful for like the larger sites and for people who may not have permissions to outside folders. So I'll be showing you that. Page parameters gadget is super helpful, especially with CP News. So I'll be showing you that one as well. We're going to be scheduling pages to publish and expire. So this one's more like, and reminders. So these ones are more like workflow items to make your lives easier so you can schedule things and like not have to babysit them day of, right? And then we're going to go over a report section. So I don't think we've talked about those before. They are available to you, but no one knows them. So let me switch to my thing here. What is it? Oh, I'm supposed to click an X or something. Here. Okay, this is my lovely demo site. I clearly spent so much time perfecting this lovely filler text for us, right? So this is my demo site. Let's play a little game here. So like my boss says, hey, we're making a new site section. I need you to do this, this, and this on it, right? So here's my landing page. Great. I'm going to scroll down and log in, but I'm not going to do that because I already did that because, you know, multi-factor authentication, didn't want to waste the time. Okay, here we are. I'm on my index page landing page. I've got the normal things. Let me scroll down here. This is quite awkward on this laptop. Okay, we're going to edit this guy. Let's say that I need to add a forum, and it has to have CAPTCHA, right? So I'm on my demo page. The first thing I'm going to do is turn on my show blocks. Remember that thing? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. Turn it on. We're going to take everything out. Oh, just kidding. That's a bad shortcut on Windows. I'm going to insert a 2-column snippet. So, columns, 2-column snippet, because I want 2 columns. So my forum's only going to be one of these 2 columns, because otherwise it's just huge and I can't think it looks nice. I'm going to insert an asset. And I'm going to go to forms, because I don't want to look at anything else. Awesome, and I have a test form called IT Web Test Form. Woo! Exciting. Okay, and on here, I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and we're going to call it like, you know, demo form. Cool. And we're going to save it. This is all familiar to everyone, right? Okay, so there's not a CAPTCHA on this. So now I need to edit it. So, but I don't really want to leave this page to go to my assets, because that's like, you know, kind of annoying to me, right? As the editor, I will have to eventually, but there's a faster way to get there. So if I click on show gadgets, right? Now that I've dropped the form into the page and I go to page info gadget on the side, my asset is already right here. It's already linked for me. I do not have to go to content assets and then search for anything, right? It's right here on the sidebar. Yay. So I've already dropped it in. We're going to go edit it. So I'm going to click on it and click on the name of it. Check it out to me and hit edit. Okay, now we're editing our form, right? On the sidebar, there's a form settings section, which you are familiar with if you use forms at all. But if you haven't CAPTCHA enabled for your site, and again, if you don't, let me know. Where is the scroll bar on this thing? Right here, there's a new checkbox that says include CAPTCHA, right? I'm just going to check that thing. I'll save it. Okay, so if I publish this right now, it's going to publish to my live website on the page that I just added it on. Maybe I don't want that. Maybe I don't want to publish it right this second. But since I've already added it, so notice when I clicked on the page info gadget over here, it threw it up into this dependency tag info gadget. And then I clicked on the name, IT Web Test Form, to get me over here. Now instead of like doing the whole drop-down navigation thing to get it back, I can simply come down here to my subscribers, and the second one here is OUDev/demo index, which is the one I just added it to. But I don't need to publish this page and then like go through my file system to get it. I can just click here. I'm going to click on that guy, and I'm right back to where I started. And I have this awesome reCAPTCHA thing. Okay, no panicking. There's an error message, right? Oh, that's okay, because this is normal. Why? Because we're inside Omni, right? So Google does not know, like we don't own Omni, right? So Google's like, well, this is not your site. of course it's not my site, it's Omni's site, but we're just editing it. As soon as I publish it, it will be ours, right? So ignore this lovely error message. Once we publish this live, that will just go away and start working magically. So let's do it. And always add your version descriptions. Don't forget these in case you mess it up and you have to go back and you have no idea which version you need. Always a thing we need to do. So we'll say added CAPTCHA to our form. Now we'll publish it. And we'll go back to my demo site. I'm just going to hit refresh on this guy. Or just kidding. I keep hitting the wrong thing on the keyboard because this is not my computer. Okay, and then we scroll down and it does actually work like it's supposed to, right? So cool. All right, so that's phase one of what our boss asked us to do. The other thing we need to do on here is add the news stuff to the homepage, right? That's pretty typical request. So let's go back and do that. So I'm back in my page. I'm going to hit edit again. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to check the page out to myself because I published, so it kicked me out. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to turn on my show blocks so I can see what I'm not deleting. And we're going to say this is our news column. And then we're going to drop in a component. And all the things I'm going to show you are like things I just went over on the slides. So CP feed, not the directory feed. We don't want directories. We want news and generic. So we'll do this one. News and or, not both. How many items do I want to show? I don't know. Let's do 4. Okay, site names. I'm on my own site. I'm not pulling from anywhere else. I'm going to leave that blank. And I'm going to come down here and do my own name for tags because I already know that's me. And I'm going to say I just want news stuff, just in case I have other things. The news tag is always fun, guys, because there's so many like other things in here. Their name's news before you get to the actual news tag. You got to keep scrolling. There it is. Okay, and I want them in 2 columns because we are on a 6-column page. I think 2 will look nice. And we're going to leave those images there for a second and hit save. Just make sure they're pulling in properly. Okay, I'm actually going to publish this so we can see better. Okay, all right, we have our new stuff on the homepage, but it looks weird. What's it doing? Like, what is that? Okay, this is actually article 1 with the ice cream cone and the stuff underneath. Underneath it, because it's 2 columns. Can't remember what I chose. So 2 columns. So the picture corresponds with the article underneath. This one does not have a picture, so it's like up there, so it looks like it's actually with the first photo, but it's not, right? And then we have another news article down here with the picture and the article stuff underneath. All right, well, we want to clean that up. So let's just assume that we don't need a photo on the second one, so all of them need to go away. We'll just make it look nice. We can do that. Let's clean it up, right? We want clean stuff. We want nice looking stuff. Audiences don't trust websites that have bad UX, right? That's what we just learned. Okay, so I'm going to comment down here. There is a note here. No one reads my notes. I'm just going to announce them. It's fine. This is only available on the 1, 2, and 3 column layouts, and this is the show images on your feed or not. I would like to not show my images. It is only available on 1, 2, and 3. Headline already doesn't have pictures. Magazine is literally 4 pictures, you know, things like that. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, awesome. So now they are just in a row with no pictures. And it's very clear that they are like, who corresponds to what, basically. So over here, we just have like a nice, clean thing. Yay. That's exciting. All right, wait. Before I switch tabs, tell myself to wait. It's not nice. On here, our boss is like, this looks boring. It does. Fine. But let's add something to spice it up. This is like not good advice, so like don't take this. But like the thing I'm gonna do to spice it up is add a font awesome icon. Like you guys can do better than that. But this is a demo. So like let's edit this and turn on my show blocks. And inside of my news, let's say I want a news icon in front of the word news, right? So this is the new stuff. We're going to insert a component. This is all the same. The component should be the same, actually. Font awesome icon. There's one right here. I'm just going to insert the icon, not a card or anything, but they are available on the cards. Okay, we have updated the instructions. Yay, exciting. And for a list of all available font awesome icons, please click here. So you can click here, and it will open you a new tab. How nice. And I can say I want stuff for news. Enter. Okay, I have tons of options here. I can do like everything down to like a little ad guy here if I want to like do a news ad. I don't really want to do that. But I've got tons of varieties of newspapers here I can choose from. Like you can literally choose any of these because we have the pro version. Yeah, right? Okay, I like the square one. I've decided for no reason. So we're going to click here. Literally, you don't have to do anything on this. Ignore all of that. It's already done for you, right? So you're going to come down here to this lovely icon part with the code. And when you hover over it, it just says copy this code snippet, and you just click it. You literally don't have to do anything but regular click. It's already copied. So now we can go back over here. And you're literally just going to paste this in, Control V, and you're done. It's magic. And then a link if you want it. I'm not going to put a, guys, don't link your headers. I'm not putting a link in here because it's a header, but save. And now it's massive, which is fine because it's in an H3. If you can't see the little tiny box here that says H3, it's also here, H3, because my cursor is in the box. I also don't want it to touch my news words. I'm going to hit space. And ta-da, it is there. That's so easy, right? You don't have to do anything, you just copy and paste. We like this. All right. Yeah, font awesome is great. Okay, what else do I have on here? Oh, let's imagine now that your boss says, oh, we need a new news article. It's like an everyday occurrence in our lives, right? We need a new news article on our website. Okay, let's do it, shall we? This is where some of the fun things come in. Let's go back. I have a news section here. And I've got my articles 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to make a new one. And I'm super creative, so I'm going to call it Article 4. Okay, takes me right in there. All right, it's yelling at me with this cute little quality control checks like I didn't put a title or a description there. But I really don't want to navigate. Let's assume that I've copied and pasted the actual content in here, which I have not. But let's assume this is like real words. Then I don't want to leave this page when I'm writing my title and description and like remember what's on here. So I can literally open my page parameters gadget on the sidebar and not have to leave here when I'm typing this in, okay? So I can type in like, you know, how to graduate early on the demo site, right? And then do not put pipe USU here because we do add it for you. Okay. And then on my description, I can totally throw in something. We had the most awesome early graduates this year. Sure. Sounds good. And then if you need to auto-author any of those things in here. This everything on the properties tab, which is right here, right? Everything on here is in the page parameters sidebar gadget. You do not need to leave the page to update the properties. This is awesome, guys, because it's like really hard sometimes to remember like what's actually on the page when you're copying and pasting it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my Danielle tag to this because I want it pulled into my stuff. And then what's today? Today is the 23rd of May. Perfect. And then the window didn't close magically, so we'll just tell it to go away. All right, and I could put a thumbnail image, say if it's featured article, if it's an external article, all the things, like right here in the sidebar. And when you hit save here, it's just gonna like refresh it real fast and you're good. So it doesn't refresh the whole iframe, like the whole Omni window, it just refreshes the little iframe inside of it, which is nice. Okay, anyways, did that part. Now what? What do we do? Let's see. Well, we can go see if it's on there. Let's go see if it's on the index page. Oh, there it is. How to graduate early, right? Awesome. Cool. Now, let's say we wanted to add a thumbnail photo. Okay. This one is interesting. Let me pause this scenario for a second. Let's go on a small site tangent. Some of you have very large sites where you're only editing a small portion, right? some of you don't have permissions to the outside parent folders. And notice I'm in the USU site. This is the site that houses most of your sites, which site is an awesome word here because it means everything, right? So if I were to go accidentally all the way back to the home, I do not have access to any of these folders. Oh, look, I have access to directory magically. Interesting. I have to lock that down. But I don't have access to even get to my own site, right? Because I've clicked back too far. Does this happen to anyone? Yeah, sometimes. Okay. So what we want to do is actually create a bookmark for our own site inside of this bookmarks gadget. So you can easily navigate through the folders that you can't navigate through, right? So in this case, I've already made one, so I'm going to click Site Home. So this is my main folder. This is my site, right? OU-dev/demo. This is my demo site. So this is my thing. I've already added it, but I'm going to go through how to add them. You're just going to come over here, open your bookmarks gadget, and you're going to hit Add a new folder, right? Sorry, not add a new folder. Lied to you. Delete that. This one, add a bookmark, the big blue button that I did not read. We're going to add bookmark, and it's going to add whatever you are on right now in your URL bar. So right now it is at OU-dev/demo. So this is this folder directory in here, right? And it gives you this super long, explanation of what it is. This is pretty much useless to everyone. So you can Control-A, delete, and type whatever you are. So I'm going to say demo home, right? And I save it. So that means if I'm somewhere else, if I accidentally click way over here, all I have to do is click the bookmark I just made, and I'm skipping every single folder I don't have access to get to the folder that I want. Okay? Awesome. Woo. Yeah? I hear some aha moments happening out there. Okay, this is a great gadget. I don't know why I haven't used this before. I just barely started using this. Has been available for years, right? I work in Omni CMS and I haven't been using it. This thing is great. So yeah, if you have larger sites and you're actively working on a project in a certain folder, you can just skip right to it, from wherever you are on your site. So anyways, side tangent. Let's go back to our new stuff for a second. And let's assume that I already made an images bookmark, because it did. And we're going to go into Article 4. And we're going to add, close this guy for a second. We are going to add an image in my article for funsies. Okay, add your image here by clicking and replacing. Okay, we're going to click it and then click the image icon guy. And we're going to find something, right? Okay, sites USU. Where's my site? I don't have permissions to get to my own site folder, right? Because I'm in this is the problem. Yeah? Okay, we don't like this, right? So what we're going to do instead, this is sort of complicated, bear with me, but it does have to do with the bookmark thing that we just made. So how do I insert my image into here when I don't have access, right, to my images folder? Okay, first of all, you're going to go to that lovely bookmarks thing and find where your images are located, the ones you do have access to, and you're going to bookmark them, and you're just going to go straight there. Okay, and you're going to say, okay, I want to put in the anger sponge face on my website, because that's what we're doing today. And we're going to open the image, right? And we're going to copy this guy right here. Oop. Make sure you've already uploaded your photos, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. Upload your photos first to the folder you do have permissions to, okay? And then come back and do these things. So we're going to open the image, copy here. We're going to go to the dependency tag info gadget, paste it in, and hit go. And it's going to give me this awesome little F tag right here. F just means file, so it's a file tag. We're going to copy the whole thing, including the brackets. And then I'm going to immediately skip back to my home page. So I didn't have to navigate anywhere. And then into my news folder. Still have to navigate a little bit, but that's fine. And then into my article. Edit my thing. And then we're going to paste the dependency tag in there. Okay. So this is just a little trick to get around folder permission stuff with images, because I know that's irksome. Sorry, guys. I would have fixed it already if I could. Okay, so then we have my awesome anger sponge face on my website, right? Cool. All right, this article does not need to get published today. It needs to be published tomorrow. We are just awesome and not procrastinating, right? So maybe it's going to be published next week, and you're already putting it in. Okay, this is stuff that I don't know if any of you know. On your publish, you have schedules. So you can schedule this article to publish for later. You can set it out for whatever, Friday at whatever time. If you want it to publish before work, you can put it to 7 a.m., whatever it is. And it will email you when it's done, and you can just remind yourself what the heck published. So Article 4 was published, right? And it's going to send a copy to your email, and if you don't want that, you can just unclick this, and it will give you like an internal Omni notification. I don't look at those, so I always want the email, but it's fine. Okay, once you schedule something, it's going to ask you if you can't do anything else on this page, right? If someone edits this page, like all your page stuff's going to disappear. So it no longer gives you the option to publish for that reason, right? So you can either remove the scheduled publish if you mess it up, or we can reschedule it, or remove the scheduling, or submit it for your approval if you have an approver on your folders, or expire it, which is cool. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, and then I'm going to come back out because I'm done, right? I've scheduled my news article. It's going to automatically publish. Great. Forgot something. You put that hand down, Levi. No. Hold on. The index page is not going to get the update, right? Because it's a different page. We didn't schedule this one to publish. So we have to come back here if we're going to schedule our publishes and schedule this one to publish as well, okay? And we wanted to do it like at the same time or after, right? We don't want this one to publish before our article publishes that we just scheduled, because then it won't have it, right? So just make sure that you're looking at these. If you are proactive on your workflows, this is great. Just make sure on CP that you get all the pages in there to schedule at the same time. So I would do the same thing and go to Friday, but I want it like, 2 minutes after whatever, 1 minute after the other one, just to make sure it's there, and we're going to schedule it. Okay. Notice that they have a different icon here now. Most of what we're seeing is like light bulbs, right? This is where everyone lives. Now, if you've scheduled something, it'll say, this one was scheduled by Logan Lurcher. Thank you, Logan, for being my demo person. So I can see who's actually scheduled them if you're working with large groups of people, right? Down here, this one was scheduled by me. Oh, thanks, me. Cool. All right. Now, let's imagine that your boss has said, get all of the articles from 2005 off my website. Ha, so funny, guys. If they haven't said that yet, we'll help you have them say that eventually. But let's say this is an old article and we don't need this one anymore, okay? We are going to come in here. Like this. Article. Load, please. In here, we're going to actually choose the other option, which is expire this. What does this do? We can replace it with content from another page. So this one would be useful if you had, like, today, a conference, right? That is today only. But tomorrow, I don't want the conference on the website because it's over. Like, we don't need to advertise, like, where you can come see us because you were already here. Useless, right? So we should have a page, a PCF that we already have that's filled out that says thank you for attending. Like, here's where you can find your slides. Right? And we're going to schedule this one to publish over top of this PCF right here. So it will take all the content from that one and put it in this one and mirror this one when it publishes, right? And so then it's just replacing that. And you can schedule those, right? So I have an event, I'm proactive, and I did my work beforehand, and I have my thank you page all set. And then we're going to fill out up here the date, the time, and which file we're going to replace it with, right? So I'm just going to, like, if I had one, because I don't, good demo. We're going to replace it with whatever other PCF you have access to, right? And just stick it in there. Again, if you don't have access, go get that A tag with the dependency info gadget before you get here. Write it down, copy paste it to yourself, and then paste it in, okay? And then it will email you when it's done. My other option on here, notice there's two options. This is the replace, and my other option is recycle. If you have old stuff, like we don't want to see it anymore, like it's outdated information, whatever it is, you can actually schedule a time to recycle those pages. Bye. We don't need you after X date because you are expired. So we will schedule those as well. I'm just going to actually schedule this one out and email it to myself. I'm too lazy to fill this out during the demo, so schedule that. All right, and then you can remove it with a big red button if you'd like. But notice it gives us a different symbol here. So this one's to expired. And it will tell you, if you hover over it, who set it to expire, right? Oh, cool. That's all cool stuff. All right, let's pretend like we've done everything our bosses asked, but now we're just curious. So that was our workflow stuff, all right? There's one more workflow thing that I have to talk about, which is scheduled reminders. Yes, Julie. Oh, I have 5 minutes. Wow, I'm like way over time. Okay, let me go really fast. On here, we have one other thing to show you on workflows, okay? And that is if I go to like my index page, let's say that I need to set myself, let's go to our other index page, not our news one. Let's remind myself that I've made some changes. Let me close this so you can see. I have unpublished changes. I need to publish these like in a couple days, and I don't need to remember that myself because I have too many things going on. So you're going to come in here and do the ellipses and go to edit, or click it, click, there. And then say reminders at the bottom, okay? And this one is basically the same thing that you just saw, except for no action will be taken other than it's going to email you. So it's not going to publish it for you. It's not going to expire it for you. It's literally just going to be like, hey, you need to like remember that you need to check this page and upload this thing on this day. And you can write a note to yourself in here and just send it to yourself, right? And Omni will do it for you on the date that you schedule, okay? All right, last thing I have to show you is the reports. Okay, who's actually been in the report section? Like 4 people? Cool. So like my team doesn't count, sorry guys. So in here on reports, you've got a couple like cool things I want to talk about. First one is checked out content. Okay, me, apparently, I'm in all the things on my site, right? I'm usually the person that is guilty of locking all you out of your pages, so thank you for the reminders, all of you. I need to use this more myself. This will show you every single page that you're checked into. So if you are working on a team and one of your people is like, hey, can you like hop out of this page? It's super fast if you go to reports, checked out content, and you can see all the files you're in, and then just uncheck them from here, and they disappear. Ta-da. Okay, awesome, use that. Scheduled actions is what we just talked about, right? I have scheduled this for a reminder. Reminders are alarm clocks. I've got 2 things scheduled to publish, which is your calendars, and I've got 1 page set to expire. So you can see them all here. If you click on them, it'll tell you what date and time and what the message is that you are scheduling for yourself. Okay, really cool stuff. That is it, because I am out of time. But thank you for staying all the way through the end, and also don't go anywhere because the grand prizes are about to appear. So thanks, everyone.